Hello everyone, this is Plain Jane and welcome back to my flight school. This is a brand new channel dedicated to providing information and guidance on air travel to first-time flyers who are anxious about the process and eager to learn, and even veteran flyers who simply want to brush up on their know-how. Without further ado, let's get into the video. If you're anything like me, you probably want as much guarantee as possible that your flight is actually going to take off on time, and if it is delayed or cancelled, you want to be the first to know so you can make arrangements to still get to your destination relatively on time. Flight tracking is an excellent tool to give you the edge you need. Today, I'm going to show you how to use FlightAware, which is an amazing resource I use all the time when I'm traveling. It's a simple URL, just www.flightaware.com, but I'll also include a link to their homepage in the description below. Now, what is FlightAware? FlightAware is a free-to-use website that allows you to track any commercial flight in the world. I don't know if there's any limits to this, as I've never come across a flight it didn't track. The site does have a premium subscription membership for $39.95 a month to use some of their extra features, but I've never had a need for this even as a frequent flyer. However, you can make a basic account for free, and I'll go over what the benefits of that are, but again, I don't even find making a free account to be necessary. And as a disclaimer, I am not sponsored by them at all. This is just simply me advocating for a helpful tool. You can see this nifty map of your country and its general surroundings on FlightAware that show all the planes currently flying over it. This isn't particularly useful for me, but it is kind of fun to look at the absolute ant swarm of planes. Now, in order to search for a flight on FlightAware, you need either your flight number, which can be found in your booking confirmation, or boarding pass, or you can search by your route. Let's start with the flight number. Let's look at Delta Flight DL3, which is a regular flight from New York City's JFK Airport to London's Heathrow Airport. As you can see here, we have all kinds of useful information. We can see the departure location and airport, as well as the arrival location and airport, as well as the departure and arrival dates and times. This is not just the time printed on your ticket, but rather the actual time the flight left. Keep in mind, this data is live, so it is constantly updating. You can see how long the plane took to get to its destination, and if it's mid-air, you can even see where it is on this map. FlightAware is especially handy for checking what gate you're departing from, as I found it's usually updated before the electronic boards in the airport. Another great feature of FlightAware is that it tells you the average taxi time and average delay for both departure and arrival. Taxi time refers to the amount of time it takes for the plane to either take off after departing the airport's gate or to get to the airport's gate after landing. If we scroll down, we can also see the upcoming flights for this specific flight and the past 12 flights. When I book a flight, I check this fairly religiously so that I can see if my flight is flaky and often has delays. If it does, I know to have more buffer time when scheduling transportation and other activities upon arriving at my destination. For example, if you need to catch a train or bus after landing at your destination and you see that your flight is often delayed by at least 30 minutes, you'll want to buy a later ticket that will give you time in case of a delay. I've also found that when my flight is delayed last minute, either at the gate or after boarding the plane, that FlightAware gives me a more accurate time frame as to when I'll actually take off, since unless you're particularly lucky, the cabin crew won't actually tell you exactly when you'll take off in a situation like this. Now, we can also search by route and see all the planes headed from one airport to another, regardless of the airline. There's also a lot of handy filters to refine your search by particular airlines, the status of the flight, when it departs and arrives, and what type of plane it is. This feature is helpful if you anticipate there being something that might prevent your flight from departing on time that isn't specific to your flight or airline, like weather or a strike action. You can see how many flights actually are making it to your destination on time, and how likely it is your flight will be delayed or cancelled. Now, bear in mind that FlightAware has a lot of features, some of which are only applicable to individuals working in the aviation industry, so I'll only be covering the essentials today. You can track flights by operator and see all of the flights for an individual airline, and even by airport. I would suggest just not clicking on these states and just enter your airport's 3-letter code here and search. You can see all of the arrivals and departures for this particular airport, as well as the terminal area's weather forecast. Amazingly, as I was writing the script for this video, FlightAware just suddenly went down. I have no idea why this is, and I've never actually seen this happen before, but I guess this is a sign to be mindful of all the things that could potentially go wrong with air travel. This was not a major issue, as it was back up within 5 minutes. FlightAware also lets you view worldwide cancellations and organizes them by airline and airport. It actually gives you a percentage for how many flights were canceled and how many were delayed by each airline and airport, which is pretty handy. It allows you to see what airlines and airports may be problematic. It'll also tell you very generally how many delays and cancellations there were today, as well as how many there were within your specific country. You can also filter the results by the previous day's stats and the expected stats for the next day and the day after. You can also filter stats by airport. FlightAware also has what they like to call the misery map, which, funnily enough, shows you how many cancellations and delays there are in real time, with on-time flights being represented in green and misery being represented by red, misery being cancellations and delays. I don't use this feature very often, but it's just a fun little thing to look at. If you're on the go, FlightAware also has an app that's available on both the Apple Store and the Android Play Store. Honestly, I never really use the app and just access the site from my phone's browser when I'm on the go or at the airport, and it works just fine. Finally, I did promise I'd mention the membership tiers for FlightAware. They have 4 types of membership, not including just using their website anonymously. There's a basic account, which is free, the aforementioned Premium Plus account, which is $39.95 a month, Enterprise, which is $89.95 a month, and finally, Enterprise EX, which is $129.95 a month. No matter how you spin it, it isn't cheap. However, despite the high prices, I don't actually hold it against FlightAware, as you can get so much out of their website just using the free version, or not even making an account. FlightAware has always told me everything I've needed without me even needing to make a free account. Honestly, I'd say it's maybe worth making a free account, as you can sign up for flight tracking alerts and save certain aircraft and airports as your favorites without paying anything. With an account, you can also see the past flight activity for a specific flight anywhere from 3 months to 8 months, rather than just the standard 2 weeks you can see without an account. Unless you're an aviation statistics buff, I don't think this is truly necessary, as 2 weeks is enough history to tell you what recent trend your flight is following. In conclusion, FlightAware is a great resource for tracking your own flight, knowing what flights are reliable enough to book, and also tracking the flight of a friend or family member if you want to see if they're okay and what time they'll land so you know when to pick them up from the airport. This is a brand new channel, and if you found this video to be informative or helpful, consider leaving a like and subscribing. Until then, safe travels to you all.